You're listening to The Rift on RMU Radio. Your campus, your voice.
All right, hello everybody, and thank you for joining us again here on The Rift at RMU Radio, your campus, your voice. So it's been a long week since we were on here last, and we got all the new gizmos and gadgets that are coming out and in the tech world, all the different things to make our lives easier or more hectic, depending on how you look at it, different things to keep track of, and different things that attempt to make our lives simpler and make us more technology dependent. So first on our list today, we have something that is actually happening in the Netherlands right now. It's robotic fuel pumps. So instead of having to go out, get out of your vehicle, go over, choose your gas, lift your arm, pump the gas, get back in. This system basically lets you drive up, choose just by leaning out your window or even possibly on your phone on an app what type of fuel you want, and then the arm just hooks up and pumps it for you. Infrared lights and cameras will locate the fuel door on your vehicle, and then an arm with a suction cup will open the fuel door, then a nozzle that extends into the fuel tank, release the desired amount of fuel, and then once the tank is full or you've reached your maximum amount of money for how much fuel you can get for the price that you put in, the nozzle will go back into the pump, and then you pay, or if it's prepaid, then you're just good to go by that point. Baker, the man who is heading this, said that he envies the system with a touchscreen display, allowing drivers to select what kind of gas they want, and a phone-based app could then be used for payment. So, like I said, it's a Swedish company, I believe, that is working on this in the Netherlands. It's Fuelmatic Systems, and these systems cost about $50,000 per pump, which, if you think about it, gas giants should be able to pay for something like this for how much money they make. And then in a few years, this is planned to be set up first in St. Louis to see how it does, and if it gets a good public response, then it'll move on to different cities around the U.S. if it gets a good response and if other companies want to buy into it. Personally, I do like the idea because gas pumps, for one, are one of the dirtiest things in the world, one of the germiest things in the world. So this kind of takes that out of it, and getting gasoline all over your hands, going home, washing your hands, and they still smell like gasoline. And then you always see those people on those fail videos on YouTube or whatever that forget to pull the pump out of the gas tank, and then they drive away and it rips the hose out of the pump. Or somebody just misses the pump completely and there's just gas going everywhere. So this kind of cuts down on those different kinds of things. Aaron, what do you think?
I have a lot of concerns with this because my car, you need to pop the gas cap, first of all. So the suction cup wouldn't be able to grab it unless I remembered to do that on my end. I also have an older car, so I have a cap on my gas tank, which would make it not work with the system, so it would have to be able to be used manually also. And also some cars and trucks and vans are longer than others, so depending on where your gas tank is on your vehicle, the robotic arm and pump might not be able to reach it.
Well, I would think for that you would just pull up as far as you would need to, that your tank door would be as close to the pump as possible, and it says it uses the infrared lights in the camera to locate it, and the arm can probably move on like an X, Y, and Z axis where the shoulder of the arm would be, so it'd be able to kind of maneuver around the pump to be able to reach your door.
but how far would it be able to go depends on the pump. And depending on how far you pulled up, you might not be able to reach the touchscreen.
That is true at that point. That's probably why they were talking about making a phone-based app for it. Just another thing that I guess we're using our phones for. We use it to talk, text, internet, order food, order tickets, and now pump gas.
I like the idea as long as your car is able to work with it.
Yeah, like you were saying before, now that I think about it, on my parents' Jeep that I drive most of the time, there is a cap that you have to like twist off along with just the door. I think most cars have that at this point, and some vehicles do have the door that you have to press it in and then it pops open. So unless the pump knew exactly what type of door it was, it really wouldn't work in that respect. I don't know. It is just an idea at this point in time, more or less. They have it in the Netherlands. I don't know how well it works over there, but I guess that's something to look forward to in the future, depending on how you look at it. So I guess we'll go to our first song of tonight. This is going to be a song, if the computer doesn't shut down on me, called Absolutely Story of a Girl by 9 Days. And I hope you guys like it.
Who cried a river and drowned the whole world. And while she looks so sad in photographs, I absolutely love her when she smiles. How many days in a year she woke up with hope, but she only found tears? And I can be so insincere, making her promises never for real. As long as she stands there waiting, wearing the holes in the soles of her shoes. How many days disappear when you look in the mirror? So how do you choose? Your clothes never wear as well the next day, and your hair never falls in quite the same way. You never seem to run out of things to say. This is the story of a girl who cried a river and drowned the whole world. And while she looks so sad in photographs, I absolutely love her when she smiles. Now how many lovers would stay just to put up with this every day and all day? How do we wind up this way, watching our mouths for the words that we say? As long as we stand here waiting, wearing the clothes of the souls that we choose. How do we get there today when we're walking too far for the price of our shoes? Your clothes never wear as well the next day, and your hair never falls in quite the same way. But you never seem to run out of things to say. This is the story of a girl who cried a river and drowned the whole world. And while she looks so sad and lonely there, I absolutely love her when she smiles. Well, your clothes never wear as well the next day, and your hair never falls in quite the same way. You never seem to run out of things to say. This is the story of a girl who cried a river and drowned the whole world. And while she looks so sad in photographs, I absolutely love her. This is the story of a girl, the pretty face she hid from the world. And while she looks so sad and lonely there, I absolutely love her. This is the story of a girl who cried a river and drowned the whole world. And while she looks so sad in photographs, I absolutely love her when she smiles. When she smiles.
All right, so we are back again here on the Rift at RMU Radio, your voice. So our next topic of the night is going to be about texting. Now, of course, we all know the different things, the text and drive pledges that we see and different things like that, and all the different problems that texting while driving can cause. So there's companies out there that attempt to make different gadgets, apps, different things like that to help with the problem. Now, texting while driving makes an accident 23 times more likely. And all the different things out there have good intentions, but don't really have the most foolproof plan. A lot of them aren't very well thought through, in my opinion, because it's either going to make it even worse for the driver or worse for people trying to get in touch with them, or anything like an emergency situation could get really bad really fast. This is gadgets or apps that nudge people towards safer driving could be the best hope to solve the problem. Now, apps is just a bad idea in general, because there's something, I forget what it was called. It was some kind of app that parents would put on their kids' phones so that they wouldn't be able to call while driving. And it says a sensor such as a signal jamming key that prevents mobile phone reception while the ignition is engaged. Now that is just a bad idea because if you have an emergency and you're in your vehicle and the ignition's on, can't call. If anybody else in the vehicle wants to do anything with their phone, call, text, passenger seat, back seat, can't. Signal's jammed. So that is just a bad idea in general. And then there were doctors saying that the idea of technology which can detect that a phone is in a moving car and thus blocks non-emergency calls, routes calls incoming to voicemail, and stores incoming text. And there's an app called Teen Safer for that. That's the app that I was thinking of earlier. That is a little bit better, but again, at the same point, you can just remove an app from your phone. It's very simple to just remove an app and re-download it. So I think if a parent would put that app on their kid's phone, I really, really doubt that they would actually keep the app. It just seems like something that they would just get rid of when they're in the vehicle, and then when they get home again, just re-download the app, and then they're good to go, and their parents wouldn't know any better. And then people say, oh, if you get stricter laws, then people won't text and drive. People are going to text and drive against the law. It happens now. We have laws that say that you can't text and drive, and people still do it because people think that they're talented and they can multitask in a way like that absorbs all of your attention and absorbs your vision, and you're not paying attention to what you're doing. And people think that they can get away from it because they're never going to get caught. You get caught or you get in an accident. It's going to be one of those things. And people need to understand that. But because of that, we need to try and trick ourselves into just simply not texting and driving. It's that simple. But it's not happening. Like if you're a kid, you lose your license for a year. And I've known quite a few people that have driven with suspended licenses. It's not something that stops people. They just go ahead and do it anyway. And, if you're a young driver, it's only 6 months. So that's a real deficit on the kids driving, 6 months. I don't know. What do you think, Aaron? I'm just...
You really got going there.
Yeah, I did.
I think it's a nice effort, but I think they're going about it the wrong way. I don't have any better suggestions. You just have to trust that people are going to be smart enough not to do it, which they aren't. But we need to hope that most of them are.
We have to give some hope to humanity.
And I mean, if you really need to check your phone, do it at a red light or something, not when you're driving 50 or 60 miles an hour down a highway.
Yeah, when I was coming back from campus last Friday, there were seriously people were doing like 60, 70, and they're looking at their phone. The dude was driving with his knees, smoking a cigarette with one hand, texting with the other hand, and driving with his knees at 60 miles an hour. Like,
That's
honestly,
hysterical.
I'm like, this guy is going to die before he makes it home.
I remember the one time we were driving through Pittsburgh, and 9 out of 10 people were on their cell phones.
Oh, yeah, when we were on that bus coming back from the competition. We were just going down the road. Cell phone, cell phone, cell phone, cell phone. Just everybody was on their cell phone. It was ridiculous. And it was nighttime. Driving through downtown Pittsburgh, which has to be one of the most hectic areas to drive in, on their cell phones, driving with their knees. I don't understand the fact of driving with your knees when you're on your cell phone, because I've seen a lot of people doing that recently. Do you really need both hands?
It helps you send your text quicker so you can get back to driving like you're supposed to be doing to begin with.
Dear Lord. It's just, yeah. I don't have any better ideas, honestly. It's gonna prohibit somebody in some way with the signal jamming. It's gonna shut off somebody else's phone. And that's just a nuisance, more or less. And what I used to see was there was a little tool that you could buy that was kind of like a signal jammer, and it would block a phone call from entering a vehicle, and then it would just end the call because it wasn't receiving any more information, so the call would just drop. And you could just kind of point it at people and just end calls. Now, people, that doesn't really work with texting. Now, calling, that's a different thing, but they have the headsets, the hands-free calling, getting the sound routed through your speaker system in your car, and that's not such a big deal anymore. It's more or less just the problem of texting, and you really can't disrupt the signal for texting unless you're doing it for long periods of time, like the key in the ignition was doing for the key to safe driving. It's just something, like you said before, Aaron, that we have to hope that people would be smart enough to do. Or not do in this case. Alright, I'm going to get off my soapbox here for a while. Getting on a little bit of a rant, and we'll go to our next song of the night, which is going to be Demons by Imagine Dragons.
When the days are cold and the cards all fold and the saints we see are all made of gold, when your dreams all fail and the ones we hail are the worst of all and the bloods run stale, I wanna hide the truth, I wanna shelter you, but with the beast inside, there's nowhere we can hide. No matter what we breed, we still are made of greed. This is my kingdom come, this is my kingdom come. When you pull my key, look into my eyes, it's where my demons hide, it's where my demons hide. Don't get too close, it's dark inside, it's where my demons hide, it's where my demons hide. Curtains call, it's the last of all. When the kingdom come. When you pull my heat, look into my eyes, it's where my demons hide, it's where my demons hide. Don't get too close, it's dark inside, it's where my demons hide, it's where my demons hide. They say it's what you make, I say it's up to fate, it's woven in my soul. I need to let you go. Your eyes, they shine so bright. I wanna save that light. I can't escape this now unless you show me how. When you pull my heat, look into my eyes, it's where my demons hide, it's where my demons hide. Don't get too close, it's dark inside, it's where my demons hide, it's where my demons hide.
All right, and we're back for our last segment of the day here on the Rift at RMU Radio, your campus, your voice. So, going along with our kind of phone-based theme today, or inadvertent phone-based theme, our next topic is something called Project Tango from Google. Off of their project site, it says the prototype is a 5-inch Android phone that monitors its position and orientation as it travels in your pocket. After moving around enough, it develops a 3D view of your world, your house, coffee shop you visit, that one bar down the street. And Google will have 200 of the devices and will start shipping them out to developers this month to make apps, get the programs down, different things like that. Basically, what it is the phone has 3 cameras on the back. It has a 4-megapixel camera positioned in the very center of the phone, unlike off to the left, like a lot of phones are now. I know on my phone, it's actually positioned on the right side of the phone, on the back, and on the right side on the front as well. This one's dead center. And then at the bottom of the phone, it has 2 extra cameras, an integrated depth sensing camera and a motion tracking camera. So what this phone can do is while you're if you're taking a tour around an office building and you would have this camera out videotaping your walk around, it would be able to create a 3D render of the area that you're walking through, and it would actually be able to understand walls and the floor and distances and different things like that, because it actually has a depth perception per se. It can actually orient itself and be able to see stairs, be able to walk up a stairwell, and it would actually be able to create a 3D render of the stairs and different things like that. And then as it's traveling in your pocket, it can just more or less create a path of where you're going to. And if you walk around your entire house, it can, to a point, be able to create a 3D render of your house. It would probably be much smaller than your actual house. But I mean, if you walked around the perimeter of the walls, it would actually be able to understand how big the house is just from where you walked. And it would be able to create a 3D render based on that. Now, I think this is really neat because a lot of times people don't know where to go in a big building, especially here on campus. If you don't know what the Franklin building is or what the Revere building is, you're kind of out of luck. The maps don't help very much. So this way you'd be able to type in 302 Hale Building, Robert Morris University, and you would actually be able to get a detailed map of how to get there and where exactly the room is even in the building. Where right now, Google Maps can kind of tell you where a business might be downtown. It might get you to the right street. On the rare occasion that it actually gets you to the right building or not. This would be much more in-depth, much more sensitive than anything that Google has right now. There's a lot of problems with, well, not problems, but people saying they have issues with self-surveillance. They feel like they'd be being watched all the time and people are tracking their every move. I think Dave has something to add in here.
Yeah, it seems weird that, like, how long till Google Maps has full 3D views of every space everywhere?
Well, I think right now, if you get Google Earth, you can actually go into cities like that. Like zoom down into a city and then level it out.
Yeah.
So you actually can see the buildings and their actual height and different things like that. I think you can do that in certain big cities.
Okay.
Just going to show that.
Yeah.
But I think this is the logical next step for them. I mean, can't you go into the ocean now and you can go into space and like look at other planets and things like that? I think with so. Google Earth. So I think before going into space, this would be the logical next step. Before I want to look at the surface of the moon for 3 hours, I'd rather be able to find out where I'm going next time I have a conference or something like that.
I guess,
that I need to get to. Like I have to go to the Swole Center tomorrow. I have no idea what suite I'm going to or even where it is generally.
Yeah.
I just have to hope I can find it or ask someone that actually knows their way around that building. Aaron, what do you think?
It seems like a really cool idea, and I like the technology. I'm really looking forward to seeing what kind of mobile game applications it can be used with. Like mapping out your living room and then playing some sort of game with it.
Yeah, I did see that in the video that they had for the project, that you could map a room and then play games with the actual dimension of the room. I think the guy was like throwing blocks around in the room virtually in that one thing. I think it'd be neat to have like a floor that was like a puzzle, like one of those puzzles, the slider puzzles and stuff like that. And like depending on when you walked around, when you touched the screen, it would actually grab the piece and move it. Just like a massive puzzle on that is your floor. Or one of those games that like the floor falls away. You have to try and keep moving around to different panels. I think that'd be neat. Just like looking at the floor through your camera.
It needs to come with like a mounting dock for an Oculus Rift, so you can just put it in.
Plug in the Oculus Rift to the...
Wait, wouldn't that be kind of just like not having anything? Yeah.
Yeah, because then you don't have eyesight to actually see where you're going. Well, I mean, because it does map the room, then wherever the borders of the walls are, then that's where you go.
Yeah.
Just got to watch out for the couch and the TV and the table and the other chair
and the pet.
Step on the cat, step on the dog. Hamster ball goes flying across the floor. Everything's in turmoil. Broken windows.
So in summary, this technology will basically destroy the world.
Basically. It's just gonna take over and then destroy everything, but people will know where they're going. But this, going back to the main specs of it, this is definitely something that hasn't been tried before, or even on a large scale like this, that a phone can understand depth and understand different physical structures like chairs and desks and things like that, and actually be able to render it in 3D on its own, which is definitely interesting. For one, I'd like to see other applications along with the mapping that Google has for anything else like that. So, yeah, we're getting a little bit over our time limit here. So I think we are about to go to our last show of the night. What do you guys think? Should we go for something a little bit heavier or something a little more light? Castle of Glass by Linkin Park or Happy by Pharrell Williams? What do you guys think? Dave, Aaron?
I vote Castle.
You vote Castle. Aaron, what do you vote?
Sure, let's go with the Castle.
All right. So thank you everybody for joining us here tonight on the Rift. Next week we're going to have a special guest in studio and a couple other people. I think Aaron's going to take the week off next week, so we'll have a new co-host, or just for that 1 week. We'll have Vince Russo, who hosts the show before mine, Positive Vibes, and Dave might be back and we'll have our special surprise guest in here next week for our music-based episode. So thank you again for joining us here on The Rift at RMU Radio, your campus, your voice. And here is Castle Glass by Linkin Park. Good night, everybody.
Take me down to the riverbed. Take me down to the fighting end. Wash the poison from off my skin. Show me how to be whole again. Fly me up on a silver wave, past the black where the sirens sing. Warm me up in the Nova's glow. Drop me down to the dream below. 'Cause I'm only a crack in this castle of glass. Hardly anything there for you to see. For you to see. Show me how to be whole again. 'Cause I'm only a crack in this castle of glass. Hardly anything there for you to see. For you to see. Castle of glass, hardly anything else I need to be.